We are continuing our discussion together today on getting to know the Beinoni. So yes, the godly soul has the power within the Beinoni to get rid of the spirit of folly that's going to cause the Beinoni to sin. Meaning, it, so to speak, subdues the animal soul. That being said, it only works in terms of the animal soul's thoughts, speech, and actions. But in terms of the inner core, like the 10 soul powers of the animal soul, they remain unaffected. They're completely still going to desire foolish things. They're still going to want things that are going to separate the person from God. So meaning the effect that the godly soul has over the animal soul, it doesn't reach the inner core and being of the animal soul. So the analogy that we can give is that you can imagine that you're having a foolish debate, okay? And like you manage to win. So even though you win, the opponent still holds their view. So yes, the godly soul absolutely wins, and the person chooses God in their thoughts, in their speech, and their actions. But the animal soul still has its view. There's no convincing it in terms of its inner core. Meaning it might subside, it might say, all right, I'm going along with the plan, but that doesn't mean it's still not going to want just its own self-indulgent pleasure. So why is it that with the Beinoni is not able to affect their emotional core? Why is it they're only able to capture their Chachma Bina Das, their intellectual faculties, and the emotions seem to be just unrefinable? Like we can't really get to the inner core of the animal soul in terms of like long-term, actual lasting effect. So the reason being is that the primordial shattering of the vessels, these are the shattering of the vessels of Tohu, which are a big part of Kabbalistic understanding. So they cause damage primarily to the universe's emotion. So what happened is that yes, the Chachma Bina Das was affected, like we've spoken about, right? The effect of Chachma Bina Das being affected is that it caused that wisdom can lead to arrogance versus humility, right? It has that klipa aspect. But really what was mostly affected was the emotions of the Sphira. So that is the inner reason why the Beinoni is unable to heal the deep core of his animal soul. It's not within his reach, which is emotional. The deep core of his animal soul is emotional nature. So this cosmic flaw is only going to be healed with the coming of Mashiach. So the Beinoni doesn't need to worry about deep down, am I a good person? Who cares? It's not your job, right? Like the Rebbe said that Freud, he dug deep and he found the id. But if he would have dug deeper, he would have found the yid. Meaning, don't worry about underneath all of that, really I'm just this decrepit, horrible person. No, don't worry about like the deep, dark resources of your being, okay? That's God's business. Our job is, can I choose positivity in my thoughts, speech, and actions? If my animal soul's emotions become refined, that's really not up to me. That's not within my control. So what can happen, though, is that during prayer, the right side of the heart is filled with a fiery, flaming love for God, which spills over to the left side of the heart, meaning it's going to be having an effect on the animal soul's emotions during prayer. Because if you think about it, right, someone's thinking these like thoughts of, wow, Hashem loves me and I love Hashem and Shema Yisrael. It's going to flow down to the right side of the heart. The right side of the heart has this fiery, flaming love of Hashem, I love you, and Hashem, you love me, and like we're just like in this bond. Of course, it's going to flow over to the left side of the heart and have its impact to the point that even the animal soul is like, I love you, Hashem. Like we're completely just wholesome and united in that moment of prayer. All of our entire being is giving into this relationship with God. But after prayer, that left side of the heart, returns to its normal state of being. And the prayer, the type of love that we have is just like our automatic pilot love is Havas Misuteris, which is an innate love for God that exists within the divine soul. It might be covered up in the animal soul, but it's always present. The animal soul is never able to touch it. Like it's always there, meaning I might not be aware of it, but that Havas Misuteris, that innate love that I have for God that's beyond description, that's beyond my own understanding of it, is always present. I'll give you an example. My mother didn't grow up with much Jewish education, but when she was raising us, we lived on a farm, and she was determined to give us an awesome Jewish education. And so she came into our classrooms, and every year would teach the entire class and us about the Jewish holidays. So remember Hanukkah time, every kid in my class, we had only Jewish children in our class, we all got dreidels, we all learned about the miracle of the Hanukkah story. And where was that coming from in her? She didn't know intellectually why her Judaism was important to her. She couldn't explain it to herself. There was just a part of her that wanted so badly to give her children a Jewish education. And so that's the Havas Misuteris. We may not be able to explain it to ourselves. Why is this so important to me? Why is my Judaism so important to me? Why do I love God that, where is this coming from? It's this innate. It's actually a gift that we get from Avram and Sarah as part of our inheritance, right? Just like you can inherit some nice cash, there's also spiritual inheritance. So that innate love that's undescribable, it's not undescribable, it's undefinable, just so innate within our beings, the Havas Misuteris. And to give you another example of the Havas Misuteris, is there was a Chabad Shliach in India, in Hodu, and what happened is that this nice Israeli girl came backpacking and she started telling the rabbi why she doesn't believe in God, she doesn't believe in the Torah. Actually, she's against all of it. She not just believes, she's against all of it. The rabbi was in a good mood. He had some good Cheerios for breakfast, I guess. So he's like, all right, I'll play your game. So he said, I have a Sefer Torah in the back room. Why don't you take it out and jump on it on the floor? Put it on the floor and start jumping on top of it. If you think Torah is so bad, go ahead. She's like, no, I can't do that. She's like, why not? If you think it's all fake, if you're so against Torah, then why didn't you do it? And she couldn't even explain to herself. She started crying. She couldn't explain to herself why she wasn't able to do that. And that's our innate love for God. That is just so integral to our very being that nothing can wash that type of love away. Okay, but after prayer, right? So during prayer, we have that fiery love for God, that fiery, flamey love for God, just me and Hashem, that's it. Then the animal soul is back on, 100% looking for its desires. For in the beginning, the essence and core of the animal soul originating klipa, which is lodged in the left part of the heart, remains undisturbed during prayer. Meaning, yeah, it's getting excited, but the inner core of it doesn't change from prayer. So during prayer, the burning love of God is in a revealed state in the right side of the heart. After prayer, when the love of God is no longer revealed in the heart of the being, it is possible for the folly of the wicked fool, the animal soul, to reveal itself in the left part of the heart, which means post-prayer craving. If you've ever experienced this before, you're about to feel very validated by today's Tanya. Is that right after you pray, maybe you feel like you didn't even pray. The animal soul is stronger than ever. It's like back with a vengeance. It's like ready to go into all the cravings of the world. Why? Because it just got fired up. I mean, he just felt this fiery, flaming love for God. Just actually felt divine pleasure. It's like, ooh, I want some more of that, but I don't know where to get more of that. So instead, it's just like food, phone, Instagram, scroll. Like whatever it is, it just wants to go right back into the pleasures of this world because it just had the taste of the real thing. And because it had the taste of the real thing, it doesn't necessarily need to know where to get more. It's just going to be fired up in general, and that fire needs to be contained. So there's an idea that right after prayer to say Tehillim and to study some Torah. And I have experienced this in my personal life so many times. It's just so worthwhile to take that fire of the animal soul, it's all fired up, and put it right into Tefillah, so right into Tehillim, and putting that energy into Torah study right away. It really harnesses that energy, and otherwise the animal soul is basically just like fired up and has no direction. Okay, so after prayer, it's not necessarily that the animal soul is going to want to sin, but it's going to go back into a place of thinking about sin and like fantasizing about all these different pleasures it can be involved in. And in a way, the Tanya is teaching us that fantasizing and thinking about sin is in a way actually worse than sin itself. And let's understand why for a second. Meaning, there's two ways of seeing the world. There's Yehuda Ilah and Yehuda Tata. You can see the world in the way of